Hello and welcome to the Worn and Wound podcast. My name is Blake Bettner. Today I am in studio with Mr. Zach Weiss. Zach, hello. Welcome.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
We've got Zach Kazan joining us as well. Today is Zach Kazan. How are you?
Hey guys, I'm doing well. How are you?
We're great. It's a little wet. It's a little wet in New York here. We've got Josh in studio here with us, our super producer. What's up, man?
Doing good, man.
Yeah, we're staying dry. It's not that cold though. It's like mid-60s, just a little wet out there. I don't know.
Yeah, it feels like a spring, like early spring or something. It's kind of confusing.
We were, it's certainly warmer than last night. We were at a IWC event last night. They have this traveling exhibition. I guess that's what you call it. It's like an exhibition thing for their big pilot. So they put these, what are those, like containers?
Yeah, shipping containers.
Shipping containers, like together, a bunch of them, a handful of them, right? And then...
it's like 3 or 4 at least.
Yeah, and they've got... setup of all their watches, and they had a watchmaker in there, and case parts, and you get to really experience the whole thing.
And a DJ.
And a DJ.
Hors d'oeuvres and champagne,
They even made a special cocktail last night, and it was with grapefruit, right?
I did not have the cocktail.
Oh,
I was working off the previous night's cocktails. So
okay, yeah, that's right.
Now that the pandemic is waning and everyone's getting their events out.
It's been nonstop.
Right now. It's been like 2 to 3 events a week for us. It's
craziness.
You guys have another one upcoming, right?
And we have our own event.
And we're piling onto it. We have a fair. By the time this goes live, it will be tomorrow. Yeah, we have fair in town at the Filson store in Manhattan that we will be doing. He's got something to reveal. I take it. We'll be chatting with Paul Fair. Will be in, or Paul Fair. Tim Apple might be there. Paul Sweetenham, our friend over at Fair, will be in town. Regrettably, he could not be here for the wind up, so if you missed him there.
But yeah, I mean, as soon as they could get here, they got here, which is why we're doing an event. So,
so hopefully you were able to RSVP for that. I know that filled up very quickly.
Damn, I wish I'd.
So, if you show up, maybe we'll try. We can try and get you in.
Part of the team.
So we saw all the big pilots last night, and you got to see the Mojave for the first time in person. What was your impression?
What a funky watch. Funky watch. My initial impression was it was a little more like washed out, the colors, than I expected. Like the case is it's almost taupe. Yeah. I think I expected more of like a warm sand color. And then the dial is this sort of hard to describe desaturated brown color, which is quite unique. Like it's mixed with gray tones, so it really the dial in particular is like I couldn't say any other watch that quite looked like that. And then the case is obviously very unique. And like once I kind of got over the actual saturation level, keep in mind we're also under like super bright light, so it could have been a little washed out in that setting. I like it. I like it a lot. Like I had which I have on today, which we can talk, but I had on a recent acquisition, the Orfina and Olive PVD, and so seeing these kind of alternative case colors next to each other, it's definitely a thing, and I definitely think that it's very interesting. And it seems like IDFC is going hard into it now. I mean, they did the blue recently, they did white, the special edition white watches. And I guess, Omega's done some of that before, but I just hope they keep with it. And I hope they bring something out that's a little bit more approachable in this Mojave color in particular. I was thinking what would the IWC that I couldn't say no to be? And I think it would be like a 36 to 38 millimeter Mojave pilot. That would just be so cool.
That would be very cool. Yeah, they've got they've got their colors really dialed in. That Ceratanium, I remember being really impressed by that. It's not it's not black, and it's kind of like this. I don't even know how to describe it.
You know what it's kind of like? Actually, it's similar to where that G-Shock Ghost Armor looks. If you look at that, it's not black either. It's like a graphite, slightly darker than graphite gray.
Storm gray.
It's really neat color. It's kind of hard to see in photo that it's not black.
Yeah. Thank you to IBC for having us out. The watches look lovely.
And it was at the Hudson Yards, and it's there through. Well, I guess now through last weekend because it's So.
Oh yeah.
In the present, it's no longer there. But this is why it was kind of cold because Hudson Yards is right on the Hudson. Yeah. So.
Naturally.
A blustering night last night.
Next to that big staircase thing.
The Vessel.
Yeah. The Vessel, yeah.
And next to an absurd luxury mall at Hudson Yards.
Yes, true.
Yeah, very true. We took a look at the Rolexes that weren't there at Watches of Switzerland briefly after, which is to say just empty windows. And
Yeah, they didn't get us on a list or anything.
No.
Just, at any rate, the cat's out of the bag, I guess. With this, we both had a couple of incomings recently.
Yeah,
you are wearing this now. What is this? You've got it on yours.
So this is the Orfina Porsche designed by Orfina 7177. So this is a 80s chronograph with a powered by Lemania 5100, famously designed by Porsche Design. The actual, and I forget his name, the actual Porsche man.
Ferdinand.
Bob Porsche. This was one of their first watch designs, I believe. And the original version of it was actually was the black version with a 7750 or a variant thereof. And it was, I believe, and it's kind of confirming this for my own just knowledge, the first black chronograph, like black PVD chronograph. Famously also worn by Tom Cruise as Maverick in Top Gun.
Yeah.
But this is the military version, which had the Lemania 5100 on it. It says military on the dial, which is probably a pretty good sign it was actually never worn in the military circumstance. But there were versions of these that were issued. And this is basically like the civilian version of the thing that could have been issued.
Mm-hmm.
And it came in 3 PVDs, black, pewter, and olive. And the olives, I mean, they're all pretty rare, especially in good condition. The olive is, from what I could tell, the rarest, and one came up in ridiculously good condition.
Yeah.
And, I feel like we're actually talking about this during the Grail podcast, but like these watches come along that you kind of know are out there, and you might have like a split second to get them. And then it might be like, this is the first time in 10 years I've had the opportunity to buy one of these.
Yeah.
And so I jumped on
And
it.
you didn't hesitate.
I hesitated for moments. For moments, I was DMing with those watch guys who I got it from, who are also were a vendor at the Wind Up Watch Fair, good guys. And I was they're like, we don't know how long this is gonna last. And I was like, yeah. And I mean, whatever, they're salesmen too, so they're good at that. But I felt the pressure. I definitely felt the pressure.
You're lucky they didn't have that at the Wind Up, because.
Oh yeah, no, I know they didn't have it out at the fair.
Yeah.
I don't think it would have lasted.
Well, it's absolutely beautiful. It looks like it was made yesterday almost. It's stunning. Great looking watch, great story too, and very fitting. Watch today.
Yeah, I mean, it really suits me. That's part of what I kind of like. This is definitely like a watch for me. You know what I mean? Yeah.
It's a tool watch, though.
Yeah, well, except it's a tool watch in the most delicate
except
coating.
It's a trashy tool.
Yeah, if you look at it too hard, that olive PVD is going to come off. So don't tool around too much.
Okay.
But I mean, so this is one of these watches where I'm kind of conflicted with like how precious to be with it, because the coating will come off, and I did nick it once already. I mean, it really just comes right off.
Only the softest shirts.
Yeah, only the softest shirts. But like in that it comes off, like this watch will tell the story of it being worn like no other. So should I just wear it like it has no rarity backstory and just wear it like
just commit to it?
Commit to it.
It's yours. You're gonna own it.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I really like wearing it. So I that might end up being the way I go.
I really like the way those watches look when the coating starts to come off. Like, I think that's a really cool.
Yeah, no, it has a nice look. Like the worn in ones have a nice look. It's just like when you buy it already worn in, it's like it's already lived its life kind of a thing.
But this is like preserved. Like, do you have a duty to keep?
No, I know that's what I'm saying. It's like, yeah, everyone out
you
there
really own it once the coating starts to come off. Like, that's how you know it's yours.
Like, sorry, Orfina, like collectors who are like, keep it in the archives. It's like, I'm gonna mess this watch up.
No. Zach Kazan, what are you wearing today?
Today I'm wearing my Laurier Gemini Worn and Wound limited edition that we released last year.
Very nice, very cool. Love that watch. You've recently made some space in your collection for something new, huh? Maybe.
Trying to. Yeah.
Okay.
No, I got some watches for sale. Nothing incoming yet. We'll see what happens. But trying to clearing out the cobwebs a little bit.
All right. Nothing wrong with that. Good luck with that. Josh, what are you wearing over there?
I got my Casio A100, my most recent edition from a couple of good guys I know over at the Wind Up Shop.
Right on, man. Yeah, it looks great. You enjoy wearing it? It's great on the wrist.
Yeah,
right?
it's definitely I mean, for me, it's like it's funny. I've had 3 watches die on me, and like the last, fortunately my Seiko 5 died over the weekend.
And that was an automatic. I mean, that
was an automatic. Yeah,
it's not.
Yeah,
it's not starting up again.
Here's the weird one though. My DW5600 died as well.
What?
Yeah. Do you think that's just battery?
I don't know. It's not. Well, here's the thing. It didn't die, but like every time I push in the light button, it resets itself.
Whoa.
That sounds like a battery. Yeah, because it's probably just like overdrawing it or something.
Okay.
Yeah, because to break a G-Shock takes some skill.
Yeah, I didn't toss it because I thought maybe it might be that might be the thing, but I was just like, well, what happened here?
I think G-Shock is a really good battery replacement program. I don't know about it offhand, but it's one of those things where you're just like, oh, it's like $20 just to get your battery fixed regardless.
But not gonna lie, it's giving me an excuse to maybe get something new.
Got to keep the DDB 5600 in the collection.
Yeah.
I think that's the watch that Keanu Reeves wore in the movie Speed.
Yeah, it is. Okay. Or was it that or the F91W? Was it?
Oh no, I think
it's the DW.
I think it was a G-Shock. Okay. We joked about.
I say this every single time you mention that watch.
I think you're right.
The F91 though, that'd be a good alternate option.
Maybe I'm totally wrong there.
No, I think it is. I think it is. I think we joked because like we talked about it, and like because it makes sense that if like he got blown up and like thrown against the wall, that would be the watch to wear. So.
Well, I've got on my newest acquisition as well. Well, it's not the newest. I got it a long time ago. It just arrived this past week, and it's the Cerica 5303.
Yeah.
And it is quite lovely.
That's great.
I gotta say, it's got this mesh strap on it with this really interesting end link design that connects to the strap. I don't even know how to describe it. On me
when I reviewed it, like at first it was a little bit like it's a little tricky to get on.
Yeah.
But then once you kind of figure out the like hand motion to kind of cinch it closed, you're like that. It's just such a great bracelet, and the extra bit of flexibility you get because the end link design really makes it sit so well.
Yeah, and it looks cool.
It looks very cool.
Yeah, it's got it's kind of a twisted lug look thanks to how it's like polished along kind of the curvature. So I don't. It's really interesting. It's a cool watch. I've been really happy with it. It's the Newton, I think it's called.
Yeah.
The soap rod movement in there. I'm still a little on the fence on that. It's a little strange. Maybe it's just got its own like little idiosyncrasy, like quirks.
What's strange about it?
Yeah.
Getting it to hack and like wind, like maybe it's just like the crown, how it's on there. Like it takes a real good tug to kind of get it to hack, and then how the seconds hand, like when you push it in, and there's just like a few little tiny quirks here and there. Nothing that's like, oh my god, it's broken. Just I feel like a lot of movements have their own little things that you kind of learn, and this is like a brand new movement. So
I'm interested to see. Yeah, because there's like whether it's the movement or whether it was how it was assembled, or the crown assembly or something. Like there could be other things at play there, but it could all just like soften up. A little bit,
maybe it just needs some time. Yeah,
it looks great in person.
Yeah, it's a great looking watch. It's very unique looking as well. I don't know, but when I saw it, immediately I was drawn to it, which is why you reviewed it. Keep it bias free.
Yeah.
So these just shipped out just over this past week. I think he had some issues. He redid the ceramic insert on the bezel, which looks great. So good call. They're still a young brand, so it's all good. He communicated every step of the way pretty well. So
that's good.
Yeah, so I look forward to seeing what they have next. I think he alluded to some new things. Jerome, when he was on the podcast. So what did we had? So we were at that Tudor event a while back, and that was just an event.
David,
just a social, just a social hangout with us and David. No big deal. But
it's David Beckham, by the way.
Yeah, David.
We call him David
because we're pretty close. We're pretty tight. Yeah. So but they actually released a watch this week. A watch that we have been thinking about and speculating on for quite some time. A new Pelagos. This is the FXD for fixed lug bar, I guess.
So when I first saw that and like didn't think about it, I was just like, what could FX and D stand for?
But it's literally
it's just
fixed.
And you don't get very far because FXD, it's like
So that's its name.
That's
the Pelagos FXD.
Yeah.
And as we alluded to Marine
Nationale. Throw that in there.
Yeah.
That's part of the name.
This was done with the Marine Nationale in mind. Explicitly for them, because it has some rather unusual feature sets in how it was designed,
which were specifically tied to a very specific unit that does a very weird thing.
Yeah. Well, maybe it's not weird for them. Maybe it's just like this is how we get around, buddy.
Yeah. Well, do you want to describe it, or so we saw a video?
They've got a video of it, and I still saw people very confused about it. So it's got a countdown bezel that is fully indexed, quote unquote.
How dare you?
Yeah. So no, I don't have a problem with it. People are like,
yeah. If you actually count,
it's not fully indexed. You're highly offended by this. So the numbers on there, the 50, the 40, they're like just big enough to where it like cuts off that fourth index on some of them. So
it shows you that they're never counting in intervals of like that aren't on zeros and fives or something.
Yeah. They got the important ones on there though.
Yeah.
Right. So
39.
39.
Who cares about you?
Yep. Don't need it. So they've got to, but it's countdown bezel. So countdown, fully indexed, and they use it to time their like sequences that they swim, like with it to a certain bearing, and then they get to the end of that sequence and they like reset to a new bearing at a new time. So this whole thing is structured around being able to, and it's bi-directional too.
It's bi-directional, which is also weird.
Yeah,
and it's a two-person task, and they're actually tethered together because one is the navigator, one is the time. And the video is weird because they got this one guy with his arm out, and the other guy like checking the times against each other, I guess, perhaps, and then the compass. It's navigation when you can't see anything, and they have no radar, and they have no GPS. So it's purely like you go 10 minutes this way, 5 minutes that way, 6 minutes that way. Yeah. But they stay underwater the whole time. But what are they doing? That's
so. This is what I was thinking about.
It's very weird.
It's so this is maybe it's like you get dropped in, and then you have to go into like enemy territory.
Yeah.
My experience in this realm is like Call of Duty realm maybe ish, but so some they need to get from here to there without being detected. Maybe they weld in through like a sewer line or something and go in to stop the guy from launching the bomb or whatever. Right?
Yeah, so it's James Bond.
Yeah.
James Bond. Yeah, exactly. I was going to say.
So, but whereas like kind of regular dive watches are kind of like,
people think about diving as going straight down.
Yeah, people like recreationally dive, and this is beyond that. Yeah. This is a very specific thing, but it was made for them. It just happens to be available commercially to civilians as well. So if you don't get around that way, then sorry. But
it was funny though, because they're definitely, is there an HEV on this one? No, there isn't, because you don't need it for that task,
and it's a thinner case, which is great.
But yeah, there were definitely a handful of comments of just like, well, it's only 200 meters, and it's like 200 meters is more than you'll ever need. Don't swim down that far, you will drown.
Yeah, I got no problem.
But then like what these guys are doing, guys and gals, I mentioned, is that they're swimming not far below the surface. It's you can really tell from the video, but like it seemed like light would be coming through, so they're within probably 50 feet or something of the surface, like
or less. They're not like decompression type stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
They're not in they're not in a.
They're scuba diving ultimately, but it's like more of like about the task, and I think it's a long duration, right? It seems like they could be under there for a few hours, but
wow.
But yeah, so like the watch, and this is the thing that if you take a step back from what I want in a Pelagos, like this watch is designed for a purpose. They show what that purpose is. Mm-hmm. Apparently, the French are being sneaky underwater, doing stuff with it. That's their business. Yeah. And they kept the watch that way for the civilians. So if you don't like it, too bad. That's the story. And I kind of like that Tudor did that. They didn't make just like a fashion version of it.
Yes. Yeah. No, I like that too. And I like watches that have a very like WTF purpose for it. Like to me, that just kind of adds to the like strange character of this watch. And I'll admit, I like this watch quite a bit.
It's grown. I think it's grown on everyone. Like,
it's cool. I think the scariest part of this watch is the lug-to-lug distance that is advertised. 52 millimeters. But every wrist shot that I've seen, it does not look in that realm.
Yeah. And 12.75 thick, which is a solid 2 millimeters off of
off the regular one. Yeah, it looks great. I like this watch quite a bit. Zach, Kazan, what were your thoughts on this?
So my initial reaction was just like extremely hard pass. Like this, like really didn't appeal to me. Yeah. Like the idea of, like a dive watch with a bidirectional bezel and the fixed lug bar. It was still not like super appealing to me. But just like kind of the weirdness of it was just like not doing it for me. But then once I kind of like got more familiar with the like the story behind it, which you just explain the purpose behind it, started to make a little bit more sense. It's still like definitely not a watch for me. I'm not into wearing NATO straps, as has been discussed
Wait, you don't like NATO strap, Zach? Please do tell me.
Yeah, no.
And this just forces the issue.
This is,
yeah, it really kind of does. So like, this isn't.
This is your screw down crown mono pusher.
Yes, I think that's a good way to put it. Yeah. But like aesthetically, like it's nice looking. I think like the blue dial works. Everyone who has been who's had a chance to try it on has been like posting about it and writing about it, says that it wears really well and really comfortably. So I agree with you, Zach, that it's just kind of cool that like they went all out with like the full military version and didn't dumb it down for for the average consumer. I think that's kind of a cool thing. So there'll be a lot of people who really like this, and I still kind of would prefer like a thinner, like traditional Pelagos, without kind of the the extremely specific purpose behind this, but for what it is, I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah. So to be clear, you don't have to use it for that if you buy one.
No. Turns out you can not use the bezel at all.
Like, well, I guess this is how I'm getting around now. But no, a couple of other points. Zach, you mentioned it. It's blue. It's a slightly darker blue. And take everything that we're saying here. Full disclosure: we have not seen this watch in the flesh.
That's why we went to watch it in Switzerland.
That's why we wandered over there to see.
Yeah. And they were like, "Well,
they're like, nah,
your guess is as good as ours."
Yeah, they were like, "What?"
Yeah.
So we've not seen it, but it is this darker blue according to them. We also I also forgot there's no date on this, and it is a redesigned chapter ring around the edge of the dial, which was kind of like a pronounced like rake to it on the prior
which
one.
I have to say, just aesthetically to me, is a bit of a disappointment, or like that's one of the things I liked a lot about the Pelagos always is like the style of that chapter ring. I really felt like made it that sort of modern snowflake sort of thing. I mean, maybe it was a distraction. I don't know. I would like to see them side by side because they might have reproportioned the markers themselves, etc. So with the caliber, I meant to look this up and I didn't, but I think it was 5602. Do we know, is that the caliber that's in the other Pelagos, or is that in the Black Bay 58? Because I'm curious, because it is thinner. So was that thickness coming from just extra bulk because they made it 300 meters, the original ones, or were they using a thinner movement? Because I think the Black Bay 58
and dateless
calibers are smaller. Yeah, and it's dateless, which could take off. I mean, depending on how their dates are built or how their movements are built.
Yeah.
Sometimes they stack.
Let's see. Yeah, I think the movement number for it is different because I think they do that when they take away.
Yeah, I mean, they change their movement numbers a lot. Yeah, I'm just curious. I'm mostly just curious about the thickness thing because
5602. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah. Okay. Look up. Excuse us while we're on our phones looking things up. We did not look up before.
Hold, please.
Great podcasting.
Yeah.
Check our phones.
No, but one other thing that I really like about this is the strap, which is this. Velcro is it's a trademark thing. Capital V, capital E.
It's like the
capital
Kleenex
R.
of.
Yeah, so they couldn't say that, so they use like adhesion thing or some term.
Hook and loop, right?
And people were like,
hook and loop though apparently is trademarked as well.
They thought they were like gussying up with fancy marketing language, but they like literally couldn't use those words. So,
self-attaching fabric.
Self-attaching fabric. Yeah, whatever you want to call it. I like it. I think it looks great, and I think this is like a style of strap that's going to be like a thing here coming into the coming year. At least I hope it is. I like it. I think it looks really sharp on this. And the one watch that I have that does have like a Velcro thing or self-adhesion thing, a hook and loop thing,
a thing,
the Zodiac, I like quite a bit because you can like infinitely like just make very slight adjustments to get the fit like exactly right, which is great. So I hope to see more of this kind of stuff. Zach, do you consider this like a NATO? Is this a separate thing? Would this get a pass?
I'd like to try it out. Like I'd like to. First of all, like the rubber strap does not look appealing to me at all. It like that just looks like too thick and kind of cumbersome. But I'd be curious to check out the I'm just going to call it the Velcro strap, the Velcro-like strap.
Okay. Well, now we have to pay a fee.
Trying to get sued over here.
Sorry. Depending on how much like elasticity it has, I think like it could could work and be comfortable. But like you, I like that Zodiac, self-attaching strap.
Yeah.
Quite a bit as well. There's something to that infinite adjustability that's really nice.
And one other note on it: the case back is engraved MN21. And that will switch to an MN22 at the turn of the year. So this will be a rather short production run with the 2.1 on the back. And I could foresee these being somewhat of a collectible item with the 21 on there. I don't know how many they made, but they certainly weren't at the retailer that we went to. Maybe they've got a bunch more over at the boutique. I don't know, but we are trying to get our hands on one of these for... to satisfy our own curiosity, and then we will also we'll do a review on one as well.
We will not be taking it navigation swimming in the waterways of New York City.
We could navigate over to New Jersey from Hudson Yards across the Hudson.
Watch journalists
entirely under
5 minutes after jumping in water.
10 feet off the shore of Manhattan. So stay tuned for that. If you have any specific questions about it, let us know. And I'll say it. Thanks for making a nude Pelagos, Tudor. It's something that we've been asking for a long time. I saw a lot of people bummed about the size and all that kind of stuff, but to me, like the Black Bay 58 does pretty well at that size. And I don't know. I don't know if people were expecting kind of like the proportions of like a U50 Pelagos.
I mean, that's, I won't lie. That is what I was hoping for. Yeah. And when certain images might have appeared on the internet prior, because frankly there wasn't a chapter ring, it sort of seemed like that would have made sense for like a shrinking of the watch overall, that they would have eliminated that, but it's not what it is. And so it goes.
The U50 exists and is excellent and has honestly like a very similar vibe.
Maybe we should stop ragging on Tudor and everything. Sin, where's the titanium U50?
With the fixed
no fixed logboard.
All right,
NATO only.
What else did we have? What else did we have come out this week? I did a review of the Benrus DTU 2A/P.
So right off the tongue.
So this is a remake of a watch from the 60s.
Yes, Vietnam era.
Of like a 34 millimeter watch. They upsized this one to like 39.5. And it's a little bit thicker. It's got the acrylic glass though, and it's an automatic movement Deslita. So the whole thing is kind of grown a bit. I think taken out of context of the original, it's pretty much exactly in line with what you'd expect from, or what other watches that you see, like kind of classically styled field watches from Hamilton and people like that. And it's certainly fine on the wrist. It's slim, and if you like that look, it's it's right in the wheelhouse there, and it's the brand obviously has some cachet.
A field watch is a field watch. And they didn't try and reinvent the field watch. In fact, they the opposite of that. So it's like
they modernized.
It's just a good field watch. It's a competent field watch.
I think that I think they could have gotten away with moving this to like 36, and it would have been kept a lot more of the charm. Like the dial kind of goes right out to the edge, so at almost 40. It's not like it's big or anything. Like it's certainly fine to wear, but just for like kind of keeping it as close to the original, I think they could have gotten away with 36, and it would have been bang on. And I don't mind mechanical hand winding movement. So keeping it at that and getting a slightly slimmer case, I think would have been good as well. But I can look past all that kind of stuff. I think
there's so many field watches out there. I mean, it's the thing too. It's just like to kind of carve their niche or whatever. Like there are 36 millimeter field watches. Timex has one. Look at it. I mean, I'm sure there's like a plethora of brands that have them. Then I feel like Hamilton owns 38 right now with the khaki field, so you definitely don't want to do that. And then they jumped up to 42. So, like, and the 42 feels big, but we had them at the pop up, and guys come along with the wrist, and they're just like, "That's the size for me," or like, "Yep, that's the size for you." So, like, they filled a niche with that. But so 40 is sort of a 39.5. 40 is sort of maybe a field watch slice that wasn't currently being occupied too much.
And like I said, I mean, it feels perfectly fine.
But I would have preferred a manual on 36 as well. I had the Benrus Bullet, quote unquote, which was the vintage watch from that era, and it was the field watch, but it said Benrus on the dial. It had the red tip second hand, and it had a polished case, and so that was the civilian model that. is believed, we have an article on this, an old article, was worn briefly by Steve McQueen in the film Bullet, hence the nickname Bullet.
Yeah.
And that's one of those watches I'm like, I'm a total idiot for having ever gotten rid of. So,
Yeah, I mean, I didn't want to say that.
Yeah, I know, but it's fine. I can see it in everyone's eyes.
So this was the biggest issue that I had with this watch was the length of the hour hand is like very close to the length of the minute hand, and the shape of it is very close. Like it's very difficult to differentiate between the two at a glance, which I guess we see a lot of watches, and it's something that like I think about a lot, but it's never in the realm of like, okay, this is ridiculous. And this one kind of was a little like I really had to kind of take a second to figure it out. Maybe that's just me. But I don't know. Did you guys notice this about this watch?
No. I'm looking at it right now. I'm like, yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
they're really close.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, unless they're like right next to each other and you can see the difference, like if one's over there, one's over here, like.
One thing that I also felt was, this one. So they stayed away from Fotina, which I'm sure a lot of people are happy about. But it's all white. All the loom is all white, so everything is just like crisp and even toned. But on the originals, you had those like hand painted tritium loom. Regardless of what color it might have been originally, it probably wasn't white. It's probably like an off green. The 24-hour track was printed, so you had a little bit of more contrast between those. Yeah. Whereas this, everything is sort of even. And I feel like a touch of contrast, had it been C3 loom or something with a little bit of a different tonality, would have been nice, and might have also helped maybe with the hands
and legibility. It's a lot of numbers jammed into a relatively small space. But I mean, it's a style, and some people really like that style. It's not exactly entirely for me, but I can see the appeal of it there. Zach, what do you think about field watches?
I like field watches. I own a few field watches. I think they're best when they're smaller. Like this is a genre of watch that like really works when it's when it can be like really kind of discreet on your wrist. So I also would have preferred like something in the 36, 37 millimeter range, even though I kind of have a bigger wrist. But it's kind of hard to screw up a field watch design. Like they're so like they're so simple by design. Like you really kind of have to like work to make it hard to read. So it's kind of unfortunate that they made that hour hand so large. It's just kind of like it really could have been could have had a much better impact if it was either like a different shape or just a little bit smaller. I think it would have been a small tweak that really could have made a huge difference. Yeah,
I mean, it's nice to see them back doing their thing. And they were at Wind Up. They were awesome guys to chat with about this, and they had one of the original ones there right next to it. It's really cool to see. Look forward to seeing where they go from here. They had the Type 1 last I guess it was a few months ago now.
It's a little while ago, right? I forget when that launched, but
check that out if you haven't seen it. And then we had what else did we have? A Nomos that with kind of an unexpected collaboration with Atelier de Griff, which I was aware of for the straps. I've had them make a strap for me. Zach, you turned me on to Atelier de Griff. I was a little surprised to see this come through. Pretty sharp watch, though. It was a club. It was a 36 millimeter club, and it sold out pretty fast. Zach, tell us about this one.
Yeah, so Atelier de Griff is they refer to themselves as a design studio, I believe, that's based in Belgium, and it's run by Jan de Griff, who makes custom straps and also watch accessories, leather pieces, valet trays and that sort of thing. Full disclosure, he was the first person who ever, allowed me to write for their site. But like before Worn and Wound Days, I wrote a few articles for the De Griff blog in the early days of that blog, and I've kept in touch with him.
Lovely chap, by the way.
Yeah, no, great guy. Really talented strap maker. Just has a lot of really good ideas, and all the straps I've purchased from him have been, really wonderful and held up great for years. So hat tip to them. But this is their first collaboration with a watch brand on a collaborative watch. So they did a limited edition Club 36, and the idea behind the watch was that it should be like the ideal one watch collection watch. So something, small enough to be comfortable for daily wear, with a steel bracelet, to hold up to wear and tear. And it's a really nice, kind of like subtle design. It has a black sunburst dial, which apparently looks matte in some lighting conditions, and then kind of, plays with the light. The sunburst effect comes up. They made some tweaks to the movement. So the swing system, in-house escapement, is in this alpha caliber, which is not standard in alpha calibers that Nomos is producing. And they also increased the water resistance to 200 meters by using a new gasket.
Pretty impressive.
So
yeah, it's pretty intense on a 36 millimeter watch, which was already 100, which I feel like is one of those things that you kind of like forget about the club. Like it is already fairly specced out for a little watch. Yeah.
I hear the new Pelagos is 200 meters as well.
Yeah, so
there you go. It's pretty good company.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy that these have the same water resistance as the new Pelagos. So,
yeah, it's all gas.
But they saw that pretty quickly, on the day that they were released last week. So, congrats to the Griff team on
well done.
Sellout there.
It's sharp. It's sharp. I mean, it's a 36 millimeter club. Great, great with a black dial. I mean,
and red hand. Yeah,
sharp. It's sharp. And it's nice to see a 36 millimeter club. Always. They did this new 42 millimeter one that
is 42 millimeter.
It's 42. It's all of that, and it feels it on the wrist.
Very nice looking watch, but it's just big. It's a big one.
So I wonder if a lot of people, because Nomos have been like fairly conservatively sized for a very long time.
Yeah.
If this is just kind of like a lot of people like bigger watches and prefer that, and they just haven't been able to get into Nomos because they're generally 36, 38, 34 millimeters, and now this is for now they've got an option.
Now they have an option. Nomos, it was sometime last year, kind of like happened, I feel like, in the middle of pandemic lockdown oddness, and it was so I think we kind of missed it on the site, but I remember seeing this on Facebook, but with a jewelry store watch dealer in the U.S., somewhere in the Midwest. I'll have to look this up, and I apologize for not knowing these details off the top of my head. But they actually did a Nomos Club 36 millimeter with a hardened steel case.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. That was a cool.
It was very cool.
Was it like a satin finished case, or was it like a still fully polished?
I'm like,
because they did one that was like a kind of a satin brush.
But I think it did have like either a brushed or satin finish. It definitely didn't have like the full polish treatment that's typical on a club.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's cool. We'll look that up and drop it in just so you can have a reference for that. But
we were talking to our friends at Nomos, and I think they had asked for feedback on something, and I said that I would love to see a brushed case Nomos Club, and I think they were like, they thought I was a crazy person for wanting that. And then one was like, wait, I think we did. Yeah. They did one for somebody, for a retailer or something that was kind of brushed, not like a full-on
I'll go one crazier. I would love a bead blasted.
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
Olive-colored.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Don't reveal any. No.
Yeah. Exactly.
Calling up Nomos. We have an LE idea. We've never heard this before on our podcast.
No, I swear we're not crazy.
But like, wait, entertain that for a second. A green case, 36 millimeter club with a green dial and an orange subhand.
Yeah,
like it would be fantastic looking.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. Yeah.
So.
like they're
known, get your hopes
they're
up.
known for their like design chops.
They love to Cericoat too.
Yeah. Anyways, I'm not overly fond of all entirely polished cases.
Yeah. I have a Club 36 that unfortunately has been in my to be repaired pile for some time. Which is to say, it's in the pile of stuff that I forget about because I'm bad at that. But I bought it used, and so I got a great deal on it years ago, and then I wore it a lot, and like it is beat up. Like it's got a lot of scratches. I always look, I'm like, wow,
it probably looks awesome.
Yeah, it does exactly. So it's one of those things where like the polish like eventually kind of becomes a cooler finish,
Yeah, that's true.
But I agree, like. I generally speaking, most watches, I'm like, I'd rather more brush surface than polished. Polish is an accent for me.
Even mixing it up a little bit. Yeah. Throw me a bone, like, a polished or a brush, something here or there. But maybe
I think we're slowly but surely like sussing out all these like little like things we have. So it's like a non-NATO, non-screw down pusher, brushed, not no polish center.
It's a weird list, but this is what. But hey, if you listener came by and looked in our watch boxes, maybe you would be able to put all these dots together and be like, oh, that's why.
Well, but the funny thing with polish, because I fully agree, and yet now I have 2 Grand Seikos, and they are known for their polishing, and both of those watches are like, one of them's fully polished, and the other one is 95% polished.
Those I feel like
different. I don't know.
Like how the cases are like cut and like there's enough interesting surfaces and things going on there to me where it just doesn't read as just like flat polish.
No, totally. I mean, the 44 GS.
It's the transitions on a Grand Seiko that are so interesting. Yeah, it's like the way the facets are kind of like positioned. And
yeah, for sure. Yeah, different beast.
It's all right. Different strokes, So before we close out, I guess we can chat a little bit about. There's a few big auctions that happened. We'll probably talk a little bit more about these in a later episode. Not to highlight crazy sums for watches, and I think there's a few interesting watches that have come up. I guess I'll say that have kind of caught our eye. And only watch, certainly. Every watch was a unique watch. And our friend at Baltic had their only watch sell for 50,000 Swiss francs. Congratulations to them. I was watching this live when it happened, and it seemed there were some bidders like right off the bat, ready to go. That pushed it up. That 50,000 bid came in strong right out of the gates. So
that was quite overestimated.
That was like double the estimate. I think it was like 15 to 25 Swiss francs was the estimate. So I think only watch in total raised 30 million Swiss francs, something like that. So congrats to them.
What did the Journe Gauntlet of Doom go for?
Oh, the hand watch. It was a lot. It was millions. I don't remember.
Four.
I think it set a record for a Journe.
Did Francis Ford Coppola just buy it?
Wouldn't that be just
Francis Ford Coppola had taped like an introduction to the watch, like
for
I was
himself.
watching the.
He brought it back out Gary Oldman as Dracula.
Yeah,
what else? The other watch that I wanted to mention was the Longhorn MB&F that you and I. This was a prototype one, which we were both pretty fond of. I think and this had the Panda. It actually had the black dials on there, which
this was part of Only Watch.
No, this was a part of this was in Philips.
I think so. Yeah.
So and I made a prediction on an older podcast. Remember, you're like, what do you think it'll go for? And I think I said between 3 and 4 and $100 US, and I think it went for like $302,000. So I have to go back and really, I probably should have done that before I just said that, because I could sound like a huge idiot right now. But I feel like you were here, right? Do you remember me talking about? I'm pretty sure I said probably between like 3 and 4.
I think you said. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
We got it on tape somewhere. We'll find it.
We'll go through the tapes, the archives of the tapes.
They're not actually tapes.
I've got all the tapes. So.
You got all the tapes. All right. Right there it's in the computer. Yeah. In the computer. The files are in the computer. Okay. Was there anything that caught your eye, Zach? Did you pay attention to any of this stuff, or you were just like, auctions? What?
No. I mean, yes and no. Sort of in a general sense. I mean, things people talk about X, Y, and Z. I know there's definitely records that have been had by sometimes surprising brands, or Dufour outshining Patek and stuff like that. But that's kind of like not my realm. But I did see that a Grand Seiko, I think it was a 44 GS, went for a record. And I don't remember.
Yeah, there's a couple of Grand Seikos in that last Christie's auction, or the Philips auction. I get mixed up, honestly. But they had a gold. There was a gold one with a black dial that went for I think more than double its estimate. And there was 2 Grand Seikos, and I think both of them performed very well.
Yeah, which is just like you see these things happen as like watches that are quote unquote underappreciated, sort of get taken up into the zeitgeist, and then if they have vintage, which obviously Grand Seiko's been around since the 60s, so like they so now those models are starting to kind of show their value,
which is great to see. A watch that you own was also in
which
Philips
auction that was
in the Philips,
which I feel like so what the Louis Aurard regulator went for a surprising amount of money, but we were talking about this though, and like
you're gonna put it on Reddit for that exact amount?
Yeah, exactly.
No?
That there's like, well, that you think though they paid that, and then they paid a fee on top of that, right? To the auction house, which is some not insignificant percentage. So like, but like that, I feel does show the weird hype side of auction houses, and that there is something kind of pushing forward, like because you cannot sell that watch. It was $10K. You cannot sell that watch for $10K. On the open market, maybe on Chrono 24, because that's everything in Chrono 24 seems to be priced as it is an auction, but anywhere else, no. You know what I mean? Like, like it's you can't.
Yeah. No, I think I have a couple watches that were also in the auction. The
Mings, what did those Mings go for?
The Mings,
mid-20s. Yeah, those were DLC cased though. I don't know if those were unique. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't notice black, that. I
didn't catch that.
Yeah, I don't know how many. I wasn't aware that they existed.
Interesting.
But
there was a box that went for $100,000.
There was a box that went for $100,000. A wood box that housed all of the very first watches of the first like Forge Orn watches.
But the watches weren't there.
Watches.
It was just the box.
Yeah, the watches were separately in the auction. Do you think somebody like jokingly said we should put the box in as a separate item? And they're like,
oh,
sure.
Someone clearly saw a revenue opportunity.
Yeah, and then of course went
to parse out the box.
And then like the guy, like somebody who lost out on the other was like, I'm buying the box. Screw that guy over. I'm going to sell him to him later for so much more.
Yeah. So all the 4 watches. I hope that that the same person. What do you think? Like, I feel like it was cool that these were all together, owned by a single collector that took maybe took a chance, quote unquote, on FP Jorn like in the early day, and these were the first subscription models. And the box was like made for them. And now they're like all split up, and maybe some guy just has a box that is just going to sit on the shelf, and and then he can say, I spent $100,000 on that box. Yeah.
Whenever anyone asks, that's a nice box. What do you spend on that?
Yeah.
$100,000 plus service fee.
Then maybe that's his thing. Maybe it's a box collector. Maybe it's not even a watch collector.
It's like, look at these idiots buying these watches for this much money.
Yeah.
That's a nice box. What do we know?
The other thing that might be worth knowing from the auctions. So a Speedmaster went crazy, right?
Yeah, a vintage Speedmaster sold for
2.9, something like that.
A lot of it. Yeah, it was a tropical toasty brown dial.
It was an early straight lug, right? Yep. I forget the reference. I guess these things happen every now and then, but that seemed absurd a little bit to me. That thing was like so tropical, like it felt a little bit like somebody let it bake in the sun for 10 years. Somebody like managed to rub the bezel against everything they saw for like how does a watch get like that?
Yeah, put it in the oven.
It was a little too
even.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, whatever. I imagine it was verified. It was just like, and I don't know. It was just kind of crazy.
Some dealer like 20 years ago came across one that was like written off, and they're like, how can I put a positive spin on this?
Yeah.
Oh, it's tropical.
It's tropical.
Yeah. The guy's clearly gone, but it's totally, and now it's like a whole thing. And, Rolex collectors are a whole other breed when they find this stuff. It's crazy. I mean, to the eye, it looks, now it's just like we were trained. Isn't that lovely? But, it started life. Somebody was like, oh, that's trash now. And somebody's like, hold on a sec. Hold my beer. I'm going to sell this for $100,000. It's like, when you walk into the house, it's like clearly too small, and the realtor says it's cozy or whatever. Like, it's one of those things. It's a spin that you
good bones.
The one that I'll never understand is the spider dial. Like, that's a
the cracked
defect
glossy
in Rolex paint that should have been fixed by Rolex when the watch was sent in for regular service, and some people didn't properly service their watch, and now those watches are exponentially more valuable.
Sorry, it's a spider dial, Zach. Okay, not cracked.
I mean,
does anybody ever call it a creme brulee dial? And they're like, that doesn't.
Oh boy. All right. Well, we'll talk more about auction stuff maybe down the line. There's a few interesting watches, but we are entirely unqualified to talk about.
It was a really wonderful auction season, and I just want to congratulate everyone on wonderful spending millions of dollars.
Yeah, that's us. But no, from time to time, some really cool things show up here that are fun for us to kind of think about, even though we are not exactly in the room bidding and doing all that kind of jazz. So, anyways, if you have anything that caught your eye from the auction, let us know. We will talk about it or give our take on it. Maybe we'll get a Jelly back on to go through some of that stuff with him. Any closing thoughts? What are you guys working on? Are you working on any reviews right now? What are you guys reviewing? You know what just showed up at the office?
Which actually, I'm wrapping up the Synchron. That might not be out by the time this airs. So,
it'll be out. Well,
so you'll enjoy that or not.
Yeah.
What showed up? Oh, I know something's showing up today, though.
Yes.
A dive watch.
Yeah. It's sitting in the office right now. Maybe we should go do like a live unboxing with it.
Cool.
It's a Tornic Rayville.
Yeah.
TR.
Very cool.
900. Yeah. Let's go do that. That's exciting. Okay. Well, Zach, what are you reviewing? Do you have anything that you're reviewing right now?
I got the review of the H. Moser Pioneer Mega Cool.
Oh my goodness, mega cool! All right, quick one line.
Get ready for 15,000 words.
Oh boy, what's your quick early reaction takeaway from it?
It's big.
It's big.
Okay. It's a big case.
It's mega. It's right in the name, Zach. It's mega.
It's there. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well,
magnum opus coming up.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for tuning in. And until next time, take care.